Watch Dogs. Thank you very much for seeing us.
My pleasure.
We've got a load of questions for you. Hope you don't mind.
Okay, don't.
Okay, I'll fire away. Okay, so first off, obviously there's been all this hype about open world, sandbox, GTA 5. What do you feel that you guys are bringing to the party that's new and different?
There's a lot of things. I think in terms of interacting with the world, the connectivity aspect is very unique in Watch Dogs. I also think our minute-to-minute gameplay, our core mechanics are very strong and unique. And we're bringing a seamless aspect to the online component that doesn't exist. So we're breaking that single-player, multiplayer wall, so people can just come in and play at the same time, even if you're in your campaign. So that's very different.
So they can jump in at any point.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I also think in terms of the depth, like every civilian has information. There's a lot of things to do. They will trigger missions. There's a lot of systems in play that will make the open world very dynamic. You know, crime detection systems. So anything connected to the CTOS is very interesting.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the demos and the videos and things about the core missions and things like that. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about the peripheral things, like you said, the crime detection and some of the side things that Aiden can also get up to?
Yeah, we have a narrative, we have a story that you can play. It's a series of missions, and then when you're in the open world, there's a lot of things you can do. There's side activities, or a lot of driving missions, a lot of combat missions, and then there's the more dynamic aspect. So the crime detection will tell you as a player there's something going on here, and then you decide if you want to partake or not. The interesting thing is it's the tragedy of the main character, because he knows too much. You know, he starts tapping into these things, and then he knows there's going to be a crime, and then you as a player have to make that decision. Are you going to do anything about it or not? So that's really interesting. And when you're in the open world, people can come in your game. You know, so there's dynamics that are very unique. They can tail you, they can hack you, they can use the camera system to to follow you around. So it creates a nice, interesting paranoia that you don't find a lot in games.
No, that's very cool. Now, you talked about how you can choose if you want to take that action or not. Now, Aiden as a character seems quite interesting because he's not quite black and white. You know, he's not doing this for altruistic reasons. So what can you tell us a little bit more about his character?
Well, he's a bit of an anti-hero. He's on a quest to help his family. So it's a personal journey. But through that, he gets access to all of this information. He's very good at it. And then you as a player have to make the choices behind, are you going to, do anything about these things? But it's really a personal story first, and then in the context of this CTOS system and the context of connectivity. In general, that's it.
Yeah. Now, you talk about the connectivity and all of that, and obviously it takes place in Chicago. Can you tell us a little bit about Chicago as a character? I mean, obviously the setting took a lot of research. How did you do all of that?
Chicago is very interesting for many reasons. First, their history. There was a lot of renewal and rebirth because of the Great Fire or the crime. So the history of Chicago brings a lot of coherence to our story. The architecture is really, really interesting. I think it's one of the birth of the style of America. So there's a lot of mix of old and new together. And on top of that, the surveillance is one of the most advanced in the world, and they connect private surveillance with public surveillance. So for us, it was really, really interesting to have that city for all those reasons. And they have some water, they have canals, so in terms of gameplay, it adds a layer on top of it. So it was a great choice for us.
Nice. Now, speaking of like water and canals and all of this, then obviously from an art direction standpoint and all of that, with these next-gen consoles, were you able to take it to a new level, and how did you get to play with that?
Definitely. We, in terms of tech, the water simulation is really nice. We also have a wind simulation in the city. So
the windy city?
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the weaknesses of the current generation is there's no atmosphere, there's no air, so we really wanted to make that a system that makes sense. So if wind is blowing in one direction, it'll be coherent in the character, in the environment, in the debris on the ground, and it's following the roads, it's following the alleys. So there's a real system working in behind. It's very subtle, but if you pay attention, you know, it's all working really well.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really nice.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can hack into everything. I mean, can you give us a bit of, you know, I saw with the demo, like you can hack even the Steam explosions, things like that. What sort of...
Everything that's connected. So all the cell phones, all the devices that would have Wi-Fi, so tablets, consoles, and everything that's in the infrastructure of the city. So the trains, the traffic lights, the heating system. I mean, just part of it. The bridges, so crime detection. So you can use we actually can visualize the city in what we call the grids. So we have the map, but there's a layer which is the information layer, the grid, and from there you can see a lot of things. You can find multiplayer online players to play with them. You can find crimes. You can find a bit like they do in airports. It's a surveillance system. So a suspicious item will be flagged, and then as a player you can go and see what's
in the box. Oh, that's very cool. Now, obviously, this plays a bit on the paranoia people have. We've heard about the NSA now. I mean, have you guys been enjoying kind of the scandal? Has it been fun for you?
It's fun in a way that reality caught up to us. I mean, it's not fun for people, of course, but I think we always felt that the information was tracked and the information was... I think they're trying to create algorithms to either predict patterns, and the scary part is maybe to influence people with the patterns, which is the base of advertisement, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary when you do a research and then another program offers you, you know, ads about that research that, you know, it seems, where is this coming from, you know? So in terms of marketing, it's been there, but now the Prism brings a whole new aspect to it, which is, I mean, for us, it's, I think it just makes the game more relevant, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like it's almost like an art imitating life, imitating art type, you know, circle?
Yeah, I mean, those ideas have been there for a while. The concept of a smart city, the CTOS have been there for a while, and they're coming for sure. And big companies are working on software for that. So it just confirmed, you know, what we thought, that, you know, these things were there and true. And obviously, I mean, it makes for a fun game as well to be able to tap into these mechanics. In the end, it's not a social statement. It's a fun game with a background that's coherent, and you know, the use of technology is individual, and that's where I think the risks are. We're just bringing that to light.
Yeah. And then just finally, I mean, you talked about the sort of individual choices and all of that, and also with the character. I mean, I really like that you can choose whether you're a stealthy type or a guns blazing type, and all of that. Do you have an XP system that's going to match that? So the more stealthy you are, the better you get at being stealthy?
There's definitely modifiers in the game that will, you know, you'll get more XP if you do a stealth takedown than if you just shoot a guy. So we will influence that. But in the end, what we really want is to support your choice as a player. And it's harder than it sounds, because in a game like Watch Dogs, where everything's systemic and anything can happen, we need to have those transitions. You go into stealth and ghost action, but then you hide again, and then what happens? But the important thing is we want to respect the player. If you're a certain type of player, we don't want to say, well, this is not the game for you. If you like action, if you like stealth, it's great. And we layer hacking on top of that. So it's useful in all situations.
That's awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
It's wonderful. Thanks.